And we're live. All right, call the meeting to order at 6:07. So the first order of event is the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So, a little out of order in the way we do things, because of the newness of this board. So the first thing is the appointment of the principal's board position, which is the first letter that you have in your packet.
So just really quickly, I'll say just a couple words. I think it's a great pleasure to welcome back Dr. Reyes Quesada back to the school board. I included a letter into the board, just about some of his qualifications as well as the time that he served with us. And as a side note, I just think it's really great for our relations with San Diego University, where he oversees field experience for education. I think it's great for our school to have that connection. So really, really happy to appoint him into the principal position.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Quesada.
Thank you. Okay, so next is roll call. Bob.
Here.
Del.
Here.
Chris.
Here.
Ruth.
Yeah.
James.
Here.
Reyes.
Here.
Davisa.
Here.
No? All right. So because of the way the bylaws are written, that's our next subject. I'm proposing two amendments. The first is that we hold elections in the spring. So the bylaws were written so that people are divided by grades for positions. Ruth and Chris are those representatives currently. But in the case of Ruth, for instance, her child was moving into a different grade, which is, going to happen a lot, I think. So that's why this is set up so that it's the change is to be enrolled in the next school, enrolled in such grades, or to be enrolled in the next school year following a board director election. That way we can make sure that they're representing the classes that are actually interfacing with. I didn't break those out separate and I should have. Let's do that. Can I get a motion to accept revision number 1 of the bylaws?
I so moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion, any questions about that? Okay, Bob,
Yes.
Del,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Reyes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so the next revision, it said that for the chair to not serve consecutive terms without a break. In conversation with our council and Chris, the founder who wrote a portion of the bylaws, for continuity's sake, I'm proposing that we just use the elections as the way to change the chair rather than have automatic term limits. So there's two options here. One is to do the 1 fiscal year as chair, and the other is that it's just 1 fiscal year with the chair not serving more than 3 consecutive full fiscal years. So that's a 3-year term limit. So can I get a motion to pass this?
I'll move.
Second?
Second.
Okay, discussion. What do you think about any of this? Anybody?
Is there a drawback? What's the?
The drawback is that if there's a certain collection on the board that likes the chair, but the minority doesn't have any choice. This way, there's an automatic out at 3 years, but it's naturally term limited by elections that the chair can't vote on. So the downside is you get a chair that is not working for some people, The upside is you have continuity.
Seems more flexible.
Hadi Carter III talked me out of term limits. He was Jimmy Carter's press secretary. And what he said was that what would happen is, the voters can vote somebody out. If they're not automatically term limited, or if they are term limited, then the power base shifts to the staff of Capitol Hill. Who are the ones that are there year after year after. Okay, Bob, can you mention which option we're choosing? I'm proposing we do option one.
Option one, I move to accept option one.
Okay, that makes every officer a one-year term. Okay, any other discussion, conversation? Questions?
Can I take that to incorporate into the minutes?
You've got a copy.
Okay.
Yeah, you've got a copy. Okay, Mark.
He made a motion, but doesn't it need a second?
It does, the amendment, needs a second.
Yeah.
Can I get a second to the amendment? Okay. And again, any discussion on that amendment? Okay, so we're choosing option one. Bob,
Yes.
Del,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Reyes. Good. Okay. So moving on, the next piece is to approve the, or not to approve, but we're obligated by the bylaws to elect chair, vice president, or vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. In conversation with council, I think I wrote you all earlier, I don't know if you saw the email or not, everybody's busy. Our council said we can't leave an office vacant. There has to be somebody in it. So I'm opening the nominations for chair.
I nominate Mark Burgess for chair of the board.
Any other nominations? Nominations for vice president. Which would take the role of the chair, or vice chair, sorry, vice chair. Take the role of chair in case I'm not here. I'm gonna nominate Bob. Okay, secretary.
I nominate Dell.
I'm sorry, this.
Any other nominations? Are you willing to do that? That's the next question.
Willing.
Okay, okay, thank you. Treasurer. Nominations for treasurer.
So can I self-nominate?
I think so. I don't know why not.
You can also nominate him, knowing that he wants to be nominated at this point.
Okay,
Nice and clean.
all right. Well, with no position contested, there's no need to take a vote. So that's the new slate of officers. Thank you, guys, very much, very, very much.
Chris, we need to have some conversations.
Yeah.
Okay, next on the agenda is approving the June 17th regular meeting, which is the last regular meeting we had. There's June 30th special meeting that was part of the solution for what the July 13th special meeting saw. Can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
I move.
Second? Second. Any discussion, any corrections, changes?
Oh, boy.
Everybody good with those?
Mhm.
Okay, call for the vote. Bob,
Yes.
Del,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Grace.
I think I need to abstain since anything.
You weren't here, that's right.
Any prior.
That's correct.
Things I said not for.
That's correct.
But I never would have.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Okay, next on the agenda is public comment. I don't have any speaker slips. So we're moving past that. Board member comments. Anybody? I have, go ahead.
And I put it like at the end of the agenda, just as, send it to you. There's a NAFST conference, which is the National Association for Families and Community Engagement. Will be held at the end of October at the, not at the downtown convention center, the old convention center, but
In Mission Valley,
yeah, right, but.
Town and Country.
Yeah.
right near where
Right,
our school will be.
There you go, same street. Anyway, I'll send you
Please do.
It's a great conference for to support that particular area, family school community. It's a national conference, so there will be a lot of local program participants from all over the county.
Say the name again, your full name.
The National Association of Family School Community Engagement. Chief people, Karen Mapp, Jane Anderson, unfortunately, just about 2 days ago, kind of like the guru of family engagement, which is Joyce F. State and Hopkins University.
Oh,
She's like that. Last 50 years of this.
she missed Dolly Parton that much.
Yeah.
Okay,
But anyway, just as information item.
okay,
Good.
okay, thank you for that.
Great.
We're all about engagement. Okay, so mea culpa on my part, on the finance report. CSMC, which is our Charter School, CSMC is our CFO basically. And they are in the midst of closing last year, so they don't have the July financials yet. However, this is the only month during this next year that they won't have them at our board meeting. We moved the board meetings dates, and that's something we'll talk about later, in order to enable that.
Except for possibly November and December. because-
Yeah, November, December, because of the way the holidays fall, that's true. But because of that, we'll not have the 26-27 items listed here. Cash flow budget and budget district template. And the EPA and CONAP line items, we voted on those in June, and I slipped up and put them in this agenda. So that's my only comment at this point.
So would that be considered we're striking that? from
Yeah,
today's agenda?
Right. Right. So, any other board comments, any other notes? Okay,
Mark, may I say something?
yes,
I just wanted to say welcome. There's so many new board members here. We really filled it up and it's just nice for us to be expanding the board now. So I just wanted to say welcome and thank you guys.
well, you're stealing my closing remarks.
Yeah, you can close with them. I want to
Okay, so Teresa, student report, do you have a report to make? Okay, have you briefed her on what to?
Yeah, so Devisa, basically, when we start principal advisory, we'll have subjects in there. And then what in the past, the kids in this position have done is the kindergarten, first, second, they don't have representatives. So usually the 8th grade representative goes in and talks to those classes at different points and just kind of takes that information in. And then you just kind of file that stuff together and present whatever the kids are looking for, whatever they're wanting or needing at the school, and whatever you see is what we do to kind of like push that forward.
I
Yeah.
highly recommend you go back and look at all of last year's YouTube videos and just.
That's exciting.
But I would say, consider yourself the voice of the student body here for things that they're looking for, whatever it is, other than free pizza. But if that's really a big thing, then you gotta say it. That's what they're telling you.
And
Sounds good.
Devisa's been on our principal advisory board, I think, for a couple of years.
Oh, good.
But one thing that has consistently come up is us having basketball lines, and it is my understanding that they will be added Friday.
Basketball, you mean the key?
Painted lines,
Oh.
3-point, so these are things we've been trying to get to, but because we had the cleanup area for so long.
Right,
and it's got
right.
that place, so I'm pretty excited about that, so it's supposed to happen on Friday.
Sweet, sweet. That sounds good. Okay, so then the, Melody, you're up. And that is grade numbers.
Good evening, everyone. Our current numbers as of Friday, August 21st. Kindergarten is at 14, first grade is at 23, second grade is at 27, third grade is at 20, fourth grade is at 26, fifth grade is at 27, sixth grade is at 27, seventh grade is at 21, and eighth grade is at 19, bringing us to 204 students.
Are there any applications pending?
Yes, there are two. It's a brother and sister.
Excellent.
Has anything changed since Friday?
Two students will be withdrawn.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Jen,
Oh.
OTA Foundation.
Oh. Great, everyone. We had our first foundation meeting last week. So that was great. It's nice to see everybody back. We also wanted to say thank you again for the Osprey socials over the last couple of months in the summer. They were really amazing, and the one in August was such a huge success. So thank you so much, Mark, for putting that together and getting the new parents out, which we were so pleased to be able to speak to. So that was great. We also brought the uniforms back into the school for the first time in the last couple of years. So now it's no longer at the uniform store where you order and it takes 4 or 5 weeks to just come to our school, and we're kind of on a waiting list. We had a uniform coordinator voted in last year, who is Rachel, who has been doing just a phenomenal job. She has always been helping organize our used uniforms, and now she's also doing our new uniform sales and just being gangbusters. She is working with Image On, which is our printing company that also did our Jogathon t-shirts last year. So that's been really nice, and they've been really responsive. We also, at our last foundation meeting last week, had a new treasurer come on board, which is Michael Leet. I apologize if I'm not pronouncing the last name properly, but wanted to really thank him for coming on as our new treasurer, but also thanking Maria for her services. She has been really amazing. As this year, she's a 3rd grade parent, and she's going to be continuing on as one of our 3rd grade room parents. So we just are really excited about this. We will be transitioning over the next 12 weeks, and Maria will be helping to facilitate that. Also next foundation meeting, we will be looking at our nominees for secretary as well, and are very lucky to have a few there, as well as some potential new foundation positions, which we are looking at, but we will talk about as we will need to have those reviewed by our foundation council. Our first pizza stand is coming up, or sorry, STEM stand, which is Pizza Friday, is coming up this Friday. We are for the first time going cashless. So Zeffy is like our new best friend. Everybody has been really responsive in terms of parents for ordering online. And the nice thing about Zeffy is we have learned to do also credit card payments on tap, which we won't be doing this time, but for future events, we can also use that as well. We have our first Scholastic Book Fair coming up September 21st, 25th. Last year was a great success. We had 2 book fairs, and oftentimes we will do sales upwards of 4,000 to 5,000 per Scholastic Book Fair. So it's really a great way for our kids to get the books that they like to read, but also for our teachers to be able to select some books they want to have in their classrooms. And so that has been, so we'll be having that. And the nice thing is that This year, the majority of the foundation have already had experience at least for 2 years on the board, if not on the foundation, if not more. So our main goals this year is really to increase our efficiencies, focusing on, how our foundation can help the school in terms of enrollment and attendance, and also make sure that our events and fundraising of our existing activities can be the best that they are throughout this year. So that's really exciting for us because it allows us to have a little bit more consistency and also experience, hoping to increase our foundation donations to the school as well. And then we also have Jogathon coming up in October, which we're very excited about. I know that we already have a few promises of support, especially from Old Town. And then also from our lovely events coordinator, Alexis, who has been really working really hard on that and many other activities throughout the last couple of months, and will continue to do so. We also continue to monitor the website and have been updating that. So you'll see that on the website news. We try to keep that as up to date as possible. So yesterday's elementary school back to school night was on there. Tonight, the board. And then after this meeting, we will have on there just come to tomorrow's back to school for our middle school classes. And so that's being kept up to date. We're also doing a lot more broadcasts, hopefully not inundating parents too much, but we'll try to keep them as succinct and brief as possible when they come from the foundation. And then also wanted to be a big thank you to Yoriana, who is our volunteers coordinator. She's been doing a fabulous job with our foundation Instagram and Facebook. So if anybody has not followed those yet, please do. You'll see that it is constantly being updated with visuals and events and updates, and it really helps to push that out in terms of getting information to our parents, but also to anybody who's interested in OTA in general. And finally, we are working on a foundation newsletter, which will be, I know I said that a lot last year, but this year I've almost done it, almost finished it. It will be tailored for each classroom, and we'll be distributing it per classroom, obviously digitally, but I may have some printed out, we will see. And it will hopefully be out and ready for distribution by early September, where we will also have a chance to introduce each class to their class parents and some of the activities that the foundation is doing. So that's it for us for now. Our next foundation meeting is always the second Tuesday of every month. So looking forward to seeing everyone. Thanks.
Thank you. That was a lot.
Quick question, can we look forward to getting a physical report from the foundation during our meetings? That has been practiced in the.
Yes,
past?
this one, yeah, usually there is, but I believe because this is the first meeting of the year that there wasn't a request for one, but usually there is a written report that's done prior to it. And you will usually get one before every meeting.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
Okay, is Janina with us?
I sure hope so. I've been wondering myself.
Janina, are you here?
Hello,
There she-
everyone. Yes, I am here. All right. So on the agenda for tonight, we have the May and June financials. Mark, I wanted to ask, I think we had spoken about this previously, that the board was given May and June, but I would just be covering June. Since it does encompass the
Oh,
portion.
yeah, we talked about that before, right.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Then that's what I will go ahead and start with.
Okay, so that in your packets, that's this is May, and then the next one starts with the image she's showing there for June.
Yes, so essentially we're just going to go ahead and cover June, as June has all of the financials from July 1st to the end of June. So May would be encompassed within what we're looking at.
Bless you.
So, oh, sorry, go ahead, Mark.
Oh, no, that's it, go for it.
Okay, so here we are looking at OTA's financial position at the end of June. So our cash balance at the end of June is $167,118. And you guys can see my screen okay, right?
Yeah,
Okay, great.
Yeah.
We had 200 students enrolled with 180.9 ADA. We ended the year with $3,413,086 in revenue. And this was actually 109.9% over what we had currently budgeted for this year. And so there were a couple of items that did come in over and under what we budgeted. So LCFF came in over by $8,859. Federal sped came in a bit higher at $2,986. State NSLP, this one came in under by $29,784, mainly due to NSLP claims. We did not receive January and April claims in time for the year-end close. So we will have to make sure to put an audit adjustment once we do receive those. Next is the local revenue. And this came in favorably by $23,516, and this was mainly due to revenues from the OSPI group. Next, we are now looking at our expenses at the end of June, and this is $3,626,242. This actually came in 111.3 under our current budget. And you know what? I believe that should say over, so I apologize. So that's a typo. Teacher salaries were $48,719 over budget. Our food and supplies were $19,647 over budget. Our rent was $18,828 over budget. And this was mainly due to not receiving the new lease until April. So therefore, in April, we had to do a true-up journal entry to catch up on the payments because we do lease amortization. What that means is that if your lease is a lease for, let's go ahead and say 3 years, then we take the total amount. Typically, your rent increases each year, and we amortize that over the 3 years. So as you start getting towards the end, essentially all of the payments would be equal. Okay, so next we have our building maintenance. This also came in a bit over budget by $16,892. And this was mainly due to elevator repairs that were done earlier in the year, but were not recorded until May. We had legal services coming in $33,520 over budget, as well as field trip expenses also coming in over budget by $20,856. So therefore, we did end this past fiscal year in a deficit of $213,156. Our ending fund balance is $255,990. And then at this point in time, when we were looking ahead when preparing these reports, we were anticipating for the 26-27 fiscal year that we would be projecting a deficit of $71,067 with an ending fund balance of $184,923. I've been working with Devin and leadership on revising that budget. So just to bring the board up to awareness on where we're at with that is that we had originally built our budget for 26-27 around enrollment of 222 students. That was what the board had last approved. And that's how we were essentially at this deficit of 71,000. Since then, enrollment has came in at 203. That was what we last based it on today. And so we are now looking at a deficit of close to 300,000, which does put our ending fund balance in the negative. So I just wanted to stop, ask the board if they have any questions. I know it's a lot of information.
Yes. Hi, Janina, happy school year.
Hello, hello.
I just had a couple of things that I was curious about. So this, going back to the top, second bullet point under the 200 student enrolled, you've got $11,464.15 times the 88. Is that 11,464? Is that still our 26-27 number that we can reference for cost per student? Or has that number been adjusted in any way?
So it will vary based off of because what we use for LCFF is essentially an LCFF calculator. And so the May revise came out with adjustments, and that has the governor's revisions in it. I think that there was probably, it was like a 1.4% increase in COLA and things of that essence. So essentially the number that we were looking at of 11,464 for ADA for 25-26 school year won't necessarily be the same going into this upcoming year. I will definitely have those amounts on your upcoming presentations for the monthly close for July and August so that the board can see that.
Great, thank you. I have one more item that I wanted to just make. It's actually more of a request than a question. Is it possible to create on this same page perhaps a key where we can get these acronyms? Like, I don't recall what NSLP means. I think it would be just good for the audience and any viewers to just be reminded that what is the LCFF fund, right? Because if we're just looking at this as lay people, or we're not seeing it as frequently, it is, I think it would just be helpful for everyone to have a little bit more context of the subject matters that are applicable to the money.
Absolutely. And thank you for that reminder. Sometimes I think I get caught up in the acronyms of this and I have to remind myself to slow down a bit, but I'm more than happy to actually put the full name of what it is. So just for this context, NSLP would be National School Lunch Program. And then the other one, and I'll touch on that for this, LCFF is Local Control Funding Formula, but I'm more than happy to start writing those out completely on these future presentations for the board.
Awesome. Or even if there's just one page that we can just reference in the future, so you can keep your acronyms and your pages nice and pretty, that's fine too.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Of course. All right. Any additional questions on the June financials before I move on to the supplemental documents?
Oh,
You would?
All
You can
right.
proceed.
Okay, great. So there's a couple of supplemental documents. I won't go over all of them. I will go over some of the more important ones, such as the check register, as well as the cash flow. However, even though I am going over just some of these items, they are given to the board. So if you do ever have questions on any of the other supplemental documents, please feel free to ask. So here we are looking at the check register for June. This is a bit light, obviously, for June, considering that the school was not in session. So that's our check register. All right, so next here we have our cash flow. This is for 25-26 fiscal year. So scrolling all the way down here, you'll see that at the very bottom, we have the cash end of period. So for the cash end of period, we ended with a positive cash flow for the duration of the 25-26 school year. And then the next cash flow that I have is 26-27. You'll see that on the upper left-hand corner. And if I scroll down here, when we were building this one at this point in time, as you can see, we were anticipating a cash flow deficit for the entire school year. With the projections that I've been working on with leadership, is we are still currently looking at those shortfalls of cash. However, school leadership is working around the deferment of payments and such so that we can continue to maintain operations successfully.
Janina, I'm sorry, my vision is poor. That screen that you were just on, can you tell me the number that was up on that screen in the yellow far right, just to make sure I'm looking at the same page?
Yes. And I apologize because I know that these are it's a lot of information on a one document. So there's two lines here. We've got the orange line, which is our net income or net deficit. That's going to represent our revenues minus our expenses, and it's for each individual month. And then below that, we have our cash. So the thing about our income statement, which is above, is that that's operational. Some of the revenues in which we are recognizing doesn't necessarily mean that the school has received that cash because we're on accrual basis. Now, what we're looking at the bottom here is the cash. So your income statement flows into your cash flow statement. I think that the one thing that is important to recognize here is that at the beginning of 2026, 27, when we were looking at this, when this information was pulled, we were anticipating that OTA would only have $43,643 starting this school year. However, we know with looking at OTA's financial position at June 30th, that was actually a bit better, is that OTA started 26, 27 with $167,118 of cash. So sometimes what I'm essentially bringing forth to the board, it might be a little bit outdated based on timing of when reports are pulled. But essentially, the most important thing to keep in mind here is the cash at the end of the period. As you can see, we are operating at negative cash, which is concerning.
So Janita, if I could, I want to just put this into my own words, just to make sure that I'm following it, because like you said, in this current report, $167,000 is far more positive than what we were originally anticipating, right? But it's positive because some monies came in sooner or monies are being allocated at a different time. But once we true everything up, that's where we find that we're still operating at a deficit. Do I sound like I understand?
So essentially, yes. So what ended up happening is that, yes, more money did end up coming in. So that $43,000 that we had represented as a beginning balance, that's old data. We had more money that came in. We know that it was finalized at about $167,000. So to answer the other piece of your question, and I'm going to kind of jump ahead here for visual representation, is that right on the screen here is the unaudited actuals report. You guys have kind of seen this summary report from me before.
And we've got it in the packet.
Yeah, perfect, perfect. Okay, so essentially what we're seeing, similar to that, that cash flow statement, where our income, or I'm sorry, our revenues minus our expenses, is that at the end of this last year, we operated at a deficit. So we had essentially more expenses than we had in revenue coming in. So essentially we are negative $213,156 in our piggy bank. We have lost that money, right? So where does that money come from? That money comes from our fund balance. If you recall, I just spoke about cash. Well, our cash is only $167,118. So, oh, the toolbar got in the way. Apologies. Let me reshare my screen. So when we're talking about fund balance here, Not all of this is cash. It's not all liquid. Some of it is your assets, your liabilities. What of it is cash? 167,000 of it is cash. So every time that the school is operating at a deficit, we start to eat away at our cash, at our equity. And as you can see, operating at the deficit of 213, we started with a fund balance of 469,000, and we are now ending in a fund balance of 255,000, because the 469 minus the 213 got us to this 255. And I hope that that helps to answer your question. And if I didn't, please elaborate, and I will try my best to go into more detail.
Oh, that was good. Thank you.
Of course. Is there any additional questions that I can answer for the board on the June financials before I transition to the UAR? All right. Okay, so now we're looking at our UAR. This is our unaudited actual report. So what are unaudited actuals? Unaudited actuals means how did we end the year at June 30th before our books get audited, based off of all the final schedules that have come in and all of the accounting data that we have input into our system. So essentially, the column on the left is the current year revision 2. This is the budget that the board last approved. So the budget that the board last approved was looking at a deficit of $151,309. And that was approved, I want to say, around February, March timeframe. So within that time frame, we had from March, April, May, June, around 4 months where our actual revenues, actual expenditures started coming in, where we could then see, well, are we over or are we under in specific categories? Devin and I worked closely together in trying to close some of those gaps. And we anticipated at that time, looking at the averages from March to April, this was before we brought estimated actuals to the board, that we would be anticipating a $37,479 loss. Now that we have May and June, and we are officially closed, we're looking at our unaudited actuals, which is the column right next to the estimated actuals. So in the variance column, we're going to be comparing our estimated actuals to our unaudited actuals. So you'll see that total revenues increased by $155,669. And our total expenses increased by $331,346. So I'll go ahead and go through these categories one by one so that we can, oh, it's a little too big, there we go, so that we can see them broken out. So the first category is our LCFF revenue. This came in favorably by $8,859. As you can see, there's almost an interchange of funds between LCFF and in lieu property tax. That's very common. It's essentially what they do is that they just fund it differently. So it's still the same amount of money, it's just coming from a different place. Next, we have federal revenue. The outlier here is the federal SPED. As you can see, the final schedule did come in a bit higher than what we were anticipating by $3,102.
SPED being special education.
Yes, I'm sorry, special education.
All right, sorry.
I know, I need to get away from my acronyms. Thank you. Okay, so then moving on down to our other state revenue, you'll see the first item is state child nutrition program. This came in unfavorably for $29,785. This was what was that NSLP on the other report, the other board report for June. It was due to the January and April claims not being sent to our team prior to us closing the books. So next item is we have state lottery revenue. This came in favorably, $6,765. Next is our all other state revenues. This came in favorably by $136,761. However, there's a caveat here. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. With our all other state revenues, there's actually multiple grants within this one bucket, and it's broken out in this category here. So I'll go ahead and say them out loud really quickly, but I'll provide a key in the future. So ELOP is Expanded Learning Opportunities, KIT, Kitchen Infrastructure Grant. Next one, this one's spelled out, Student Support and Professional Discretionary Block Grant. SPED Mental Health, so Special Education. Educator Effectiveness, Arts and Music Grant, Learning Recovery, Prop 28. Literacy Screenings, and then STIRS on Behalf, Life Skills, and CYBHI. And Devin, you're going to have to help me on that one. What does that one stand for?
Child and Youth Behavioral Health Initiative.
Bingo.
Thank you. All right. So essentially, the combination of all of these, we had a favorable variance of 136,000. So as you can see, most of this is coming from this one account, this STIRS on Behalf. What this STIRS on Behalf is a journal entry that is required at year end by every charter, and it's for every charter that pays into STIRS. STIRS is the state teacher retirement system. So their pension. The state has a contribution. So essentially, we have to put that journal entry on here. It looks really great because it looks like $123,956 worth of revenue. However, it's being offset with an expense of the same amount. So it's not, there's no net effect. And I will explain that as well as we get into the expenses. So essentially, if we were to remove that STIRS on Behalf, we have some favorable variances here. Coming from ELOP, our Expanded Learning Opportunities, we were able to earn $8,314 more in expenses because the school did have qualifying expenses. SPED Mental Health, the final allocation actually came in a bit higher, so the school was able to earn more revenue there. And then the life skills, there was a the school was able to earn $5,000 of these dollars as well from a grant. So that is everything that's comprised in the all other state revenue. So essentially, you're seeing the other state revenue favorably by 115,000, but we have to keep in mind that 123 of that is from the STIRS on Behalf. So essentially, we'd be looking at a unfavorable variance. And the unfavorable variance is mainly coming from the state child nutrition program.
Can I ask a question about the state child nutrition program?
Yes.
So that $29,785, you said that it was not submitted in time, right? That was also noted on page 1 of the report. The January and April claims not sent on time for year-end close. So does that mean we can expect, is that money captured somewhere else then? So is it like a delay and we're gonna see that 29,000 somewhere else? And if so, where?
Yeah, great question. So essentially what occurred is that with the state child nutrition program it's based off of reimbursement. So essentially the school has to spend that money up front and then they get reimbursed. So all of the expenses are in our books. They have all been expensed. However, when it comes to the revenue side, there is a monthly claim reimbursement. And it is the school's responsibility to send those claim reimbursements to my team to ensure that we get them recorded. January and April did not make it to our team. Essentially, they should be submitted every month, even as they are available, because as I was mentioning, they are reimbursements. So with the close of 25-26 school year, we essentially could have had $29,000 more in revenue that we could have been able to earn. But essentially, if we didn't have that data to report it, we had to go without it. So at this point in time, what it would be is that the school would have to submit that data as soon as possible. And we would let the auditor know that we need an audit adjustment for the January and April claims to be accounted for in the financial close of 25-26.
And the likelihood of that being granted, right? Because now we're asking for them to give that to us in arrears. So is, in your experience, is this something that will be, this request, will it be honored, or what are your thoughts there?
Great question. So this kind of goes back to accrual accounting. So the school is due, let's just go ahead and say both claims did equal this 29,000 for this purpose. The school is due 29,000. If we received those claims, then we would have been able to record the 29,000, even though the school did not receive a check written out to them. However, that doesn't mean that the cash is not coming. It's just delayed, and that the cash could be received, you know, in the next school year, 26-27. However, for accounting purposes, we always try to keep everything within its proper reporting period. So this 29,000 really should have been accrued for in 25-26 because it pertains to that accounting year.
So do you just have to do some journal entries or something like that to true it up and redo 25-26 and then apply it and that?
Audit, yeah, that's where the audit assessment comes from.
Correct, yeah.
Alright, so it's still there.
It's still there. Okay, so Janina, what is I'm gonna ask some technical questions here. So for January and April, they weren't given there. Is there a grace period? Like, is January due at the end of February? What's the timeline that these reports are supposed to be submitted?
Typically I see with my other clients that they're submitted monthly.
Okay, so
Yeah.
at the end of month ultimately, or so is January's claim submitted the first week of February? Essentially?
You know, that would be a great question for my AM, and I will ask her because she's more in those portals. But essentially, they should come to our team within the month. And I do know that the school was reminded on multiple occasions to provide those claims, especially since we were looking at a claim from January, right? We do have standing calls every month where we try to get the deliverables that have not been given to our team. So we did have efforts to try and get these items.
So then can I point the question to the principal and say, have we come up with a plan to mitigate this? I mean, that's a big number that we can't afford.
Yeah, so it's my understanding in the process that there was an error that came up in the reporting. And so I know that we have an email into the state, like trying to correct this said error in the system. However, last I knew, which I think is up to date, there hasn't been a response back from the state.
But do we have an SOP? Like, is there like a reminder or something in our system that says on February 15th, the January reporting should be submitted on or before that date, just so we're doing our own checks and balances?
I mean, honestly, it happens at the meeting that she's talking about, because we have.
Right, but who submits it? You're not the one that submits. So, but does Melody have her own internal reminders to perform as expected, so we don't miss the claim?
She does.
Okay, and it was an error, not an omission.
That is not an omission
Okay.
to my knowledge. It was an error message that came up that for whatever reason it would not submit it, they would not receive it.
Okay,
And so-
and then did we do our diligence to try to remedy that or communicate it to
That's what
CSNC
he's
so that they
saying,
know.
they contacted the state hasn't responded yet.
So Janina, you had this you are aware of the error and the attempt to correct it?
I was made aware of the error at your end. One thing that I think is important is that if there is an error, that we have to be as proactive as possible.
Yeah.
If there was an error in January and it was known, did it take 8 months or 6 months to get this resolved? And if so, why?
So I guess I'm just asking, go forward, right? We can't
Yeah.
correct anything from the past,
Right.
but go forward, can we build out a plan? Because we can't afford that kind of.
Sure. In the case of a technical glitch like that, Janina, is it possible just to submit a paper report to you?
So that was one thing that I did mention to Devin, is that if there is some type of error, right, we're essentially doing a journal entry for an accrual. How much does this school anticipate to receive? And if we were given an amount, we could have essentially input something onto our books and then adjusted it once we did get the final claim.
Got it. Okay. Like we,
Yeah.
yeah,
Beat the dead horse.
Yeah,
There we go.
okay.
All done.
no, good questions, good questions.
All right, so moving on down next to our local revenue, you'll see that this came in favorably by $28,355. Most of that was due to the Osprey Group in all other local revenue. All right, so here we are. Next is our expenses. We have our certificated employees. As you can see, our certificated employees did come in unfavorably. This was $59,000 more. Majority of this was coming from teacher salaries. Next, we have our classified employees. This came in under by $4,484. And then our employee benefits. So as I was referencing the STRS on behalf up here for $123,956, that amount is embedded as an offset to the revenue in this $330,786. So essentially, the increase in expenses that you're seeing for $121,000 is not essentially true, right? Because it's just an offset of the STRS on behalf, that this was actually a cost save in this regard. If we were to subtract that 123,000 from the 330. So this did come in under budget. Next, we have books and supplies. Books and supplies did come in over budget by $5,983. So there was one category specifically that I did talk about with Mark and Devin that came in a bit more, and it was the food and food supplies. And Devin, remind me, was it because the cost increased on this?
I believe so.
Okay. All right, so then moving on down to services and other operating expenditures, this increased by $136,841. So I'll scroll back up and we can kind of look at the outliers here. All right, so the first one where items came in over was the space rent. This was, as I mentioned, due to us not receiving the lease until April. Building maintenance, this was due to the elevator. Next, legal fees in the amount of $33,521 over budget. Educational consultants was over budget by $68,349. This category is typically where the special education expenses are typically coded. Next category is the field trip expense, which also came in over budget, $20,856. So essentially, with those big outliers, that is where we got to the overage of $136,841.
What was the reason for the overrun on the field trip?
I actually took a note on that. I think what I maybe heard in this one is that when we got the revenue in from it, that it didn't go under that budget line. Because parents paid for their trips.
Oh,
So I think it just didn't get pushed back in under the revenue line. Like, I don't know that we tagged it the way it should have been tagged is my assumption.
oh, okay.
I wrote a note about it when as we were saying.
Well, I'd like to make a request, next board meeting, like to hear what the real balance was.
Right.
Is that something we should be partnering with Foundation on in terms of getting an answer? Because, or does Foundation contribute a lot?
They did contribute, but we would have tagged it the same, like,
Okay.
hopefully it was tagged the same way.
Janina, me again. On the top line under the educational consultants, $68,349. You said that this is also under the special education coded. I'm not quoting you specifically there, but does this drop down somewhere else? And does it go into that? Remember, we have that fund that we had to spend it down?
Oh, yes,
She's talking-
restricted funds.
Yes.
Yes, I'm gonna actually share my screen on that. It's this item here, our restricted funds. This one? Yes, that's actually something really good. I should mention this is that OTA did spend down all of their restricted funds. So essentially, there are a couple of sped buckets that you can see within here. There's a federal special education, a state special education, and a mental health special education, as well as a federal mental health. So essentially, this line item, 5810, educational consultants, I know that there's majority of it is sped vendors that are within this 5810 category. Sorry, did that answer the question?
Maybe. I'm going to ponder on it a little bit more because I don't think I'm asking a strong question. So we'll circle back. Thank you.
That's okay. And I can probably elaborate a little bit more on that. So essentially what we're seeing on the left here is an object code, and that's what ties us to educational consultants. There's another piece to what we call SACS coding. It's this really ugly long code that we use for accounting. Another piece to that is a resource code. So the resource code for some of these, like I'll pick out special education, is 6500. So what happens is when the school receives an invoice, they tell us, okay, we want this invoice coded to 5810 with the resource 6500. Now, if I were to essentially break open this 5810 category of 260,000, we would see multiple line items within there. Some items may be coded to SPED, which would be 5810-6500. Some items would be 5810 maybe dash unrestricted. So it's a bit difficult sometimes when we are looking at items like this, because we have to remember that everything is essentially rolled up into the object code. That if we wanted something a little bit more granular to look at of what was encompassed within 5800, then I would gear us to our general ledger. So, and I hope that this is helpful.
It is, Janina, acknowledging your comment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course. So essentially on the general ledger here, I'm going to scroll all the way to the 5,000s of kind of where we left off, just so that we can see the 5810. Mind you, the general ledger that we're looking at is only for the month of June. There are other items, obviously, from July to May. So essentially, here's that 5810 object code. And then you'll see the resource codes in the middle. We have a bill for One Step Ahead coded to SPED. And I think that the amount maybe got chopped off here, which I can provide the board with another one. But essentially, if we wanted a breakdown, that would be how we would look at it, is that the budget sums everything up to 260,000. If we wanted something a little bit more granular to look at what was within that category, then we'd look at our general ledger to see what was in there. But as you can see, most of those items are SPED expenses. So I hope
you.
that's helpful.
It is, thank you, I appreciate it.
No problem. All right, so with that being said, scrolling all the way back up to the top, here's our summary page again. And so essentially, we did end the year with a deficit of $213,156. It wasn't what we anticipated. However, majority of this really is coming down to the expenses. There were quite a few expenses that did come in over budget, especially on the last back end in the May and June timeframes that that we had to recognize. So essentially, that is what brought our ending balance to $255,990. We are still above the district's 5% reserve. However, we obviously are getting very close with just looking at 25-26 fiscal year. So one other thing that I'm going to share this evening is you guys were looking at my really nice, beautiful budget template. This is the document that we have to officially submit. It's not as nice and beautiful. It's but I do want to share this because I want to ensure for board's awareness that that deficit is represented here, $213,156. So this is the official document that will go to the district and the state on behalf of the school. And that's everything that I have for you guys this evening.
Any other questions for Janina? Janina, I don't know if you can see, but your new treasurer is Chris Caballero that's sitting over here to my left.
Hi there. It's kind of hard to see with the owl, but I'm just seeing a big room and a big table. Hi, so nice to meet you.
I think you got an email requesting some things in Excel, if I'm correct.
Yes.
So that is the person that emailed you.
Okay, yes. So I just have to have the communication come from Devin to me. I typically can't just support documents. So just so that we're aware. So Devin, I need your buy-off and your approval before I send anything.
Yeah, you can send it. Cool.
Okay, wonderful.
Well, thank you, Janina.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Hey.
Can I get a motion to approve the financial report? Actually, I have to do two things. We have to do the financial report and the unaudited actuals that you just saw. Get a motion? And a second? Get a second? Second. Any discussion, further discussion on the finances? UAR or the reports from June? Okay. Bob?
Yes.
Del?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Ruth?
Yes.
James? Yes. Reyes?
Yes.
All right, that passes. Okay, let's go on to the teacher liaison report. Mr. Feathers, thank you for joining the board.
No problem.
Mark. Yeah, you just said you needed two things. That's what I was gonna say.
Oh, no, I think we can do it all on one.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just restate.
Yeah, you might all-
Oh, we're approving the May and June financial documents and the unaudited actual, both certified and.
Okay.
Good. Yeah, good.
Yes, go for it.
All right, overall, generally positive reception to the beginning of the year from all the teachers. Lower grades had their back to school night yesterday. It was great to meet all the parents. Kids are excited to be back in school. Our sped team has Justin Kang join us, and he seems to be great and highly motivated. He's fitting in really well. I will say, like, as a middle school teacher, middle school is off to a great start this year. I feel like our sixth grade class that came in was really, really well prepared. So that's been a very big relief, kind of not having to worry about getting them up to speed, so we can really kind of hit the ground running with this group. So I'm happy about that. The biggest concern that seems to be on teachers' mind is technology based. And that's covering all K through 5 and middle school. I know in middle school, our Chromebooks, we kind of knew that we were coming into this year with them being in rough shape, and I feel like it's worse than what we anticipated. We have some sixth graders, a handful that simply don't have working Chromebooks, which is gonna be kind of an issue because like my curriculum in particular is digital, and I know I think Mr. Watts has some digital curriculum that he uses. So the Chromebook situation is quite dire. And we also got issues in the lower grades as well. Not really sure what those are, but probably not far off from what the middle school is experiencing.
What's on the critical list? How many?
I want to say we had 6 students in 6th grade that simply don't have access to a Chromebook right now. And I'm not sure what the lower grades are looking like, but they have just said that it is an issue.
Is it possible to bring that number to our next meeting? Just an overall.
Absolutely, yeah, like the actual hard numbers, yes.
And by rough shape, they can't be upgraded, there's broken keys, what?
You know, without having like technical know-how, I'm not really sure, but I do know like some of the screens simply don't turn on. Some of the keyboards simply don't work, so students can't type on them. Some students can't see the actual screen. I know in 6th grade, there's an issue where the Chromebook itself, it's being described as it's just locked, like it won't function. They can't use it. I'm not really sure what the issue is there. So I have the 7th grade Chromebooks, and then so I have a lot of insight into the 7th grade Chromebooks, but I'm not sure what the issue is with the 6th grade Chromebooks aside from they're just not visible.
Well, I wonder if we brought in somebody that was expert at repairing, because I got, when I was director of IT, I got good at replacing keys. And fixing screens, it's a ribbon that gets replaced.
They've been able to be repaired in the past. I know that we've sent Chromebooks to our IT department, and they've come back a few weeks later repaired, so I'm not really sure where that stands.
Okay.
Their ability to do that anymore.
Okay.
And how are they normally originally purchased? Like, where's that?
Yeah, I don't know. This was before I was here. I think this was, I seemed like
To be honest, it was before I was here too, so. And I'm
Yeah.
year 5, so.
I think it may have been a combination of foundation and donations. Does that feel right to you, Bob? Yeah, I think so. I'm curious if there's an opportunity for us to do in the future an audit at the end of the school year, so that we could have the whole summer to try to work on resolving this before we get our students back in.
Yes.
School.
Well, I thought I had a full fleet
That's
to
gonna-
replace.
You were anticipating. is that-
Yeah,
We were aware now, we
Got
just, we're going,
Yeah.
thought we had something like that.
Okay.
there's an organization in town.
Behind.
Yes,
Okay.
unfortunately.
There's an organization out called Computers to Kids,
Okay.
and they were thinking they had a full fleet that they could give us,
Mhm.
but that changed. And I don't know exactly what changed. They are willing to sell us laptops, but that's a different story than Chromebooks. So I know that we replaced in 2018, we replaced about 24 Chromebooks. But I don't know what the fleet looks like today.
I just did a quick Google search. Has there ever been an inquiry where the school district, because it says here, to check to see if the school district has any retired batches of Chromebooks or anything like that?
So
Are you familiar?
we're close to retirement, and especially our iPads, I believe are in.
No,
So
she's
I'm
saying that
the
are
school
available
district
from the school
donate
district.
Their retired
Correct.
batches. Is that something
know.
we
I
could
could
look
look
into?
into it, yeah.
Yeah. This is an
I
interim.
don't think they
to-
share with us, but maybe I'm mistaken on that.
Yeah, that was what I was gonna ask them.
Yeah,
I'm sure numbers fluctuate within the district in terms of schools, but you might be somewhere where, yeah, they've got extras.
Yeah, it's worth an ask,
Just
at
sitting,
least.
sitting
Yeah.
around,
Yeah,
but whether they share the different stories.
We'd like to know the quantity.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I can get you that tomorrow. I think I have the numbers upstairs right now, but.
I have friends at Google, might be able to
so
squeeze.
That helped
You
with
mean-
our eyes.
you mean the home planet for Chromebooks?
Yes. It started at the Mount Olympus for Chromebooks, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that'd be great.
So welcome, Chris.
Excellent,
Thank you.
yes. Principal report.
So the first thing on my report was, the appointment of Dr. Quesada, so again, just want to welcome him. The next is that we, did hire some new teachers over the summer. We, lost two of our teachers, our middle school math teacher and our second grade teacher both left. We had to hire their replacements, as well as we had to add, an additional special education teacher per our numbers had grown in special education. So just really quickly gonna read some introductions on them. Miguel Hernandez Solis. Miguel joins us with a bachelor's degree in mathematics he took the middle school math position. I should probably announce that first.
Yes, that's a good.
Miguel joins us with a bachelor's degree in mathematics from Cal State Los Angeles and a California single subject credential in math. He spent the last 2 years teaching 9th grade Algebra 1 at High Tech Chula Vista, where he built project-based lessons and adapted curriculum for students with IEPs and 504s. And before that, he tutored math for 4 years at San Diego City College. He is bilingual in English and Spanish. He brings a rare combination of deep math content and real patience with students who are still finding their footing. The feedback so far from the kids, it just is how nice he is. I keep hearing how nice he is. So, Miss Nicole DeWitt, she is our second grade teacher. Nicole earned her multiple subject teaching credential this past April and comes to us from Rancho Santa Fe Unified, where she spent 2 years as an instructional assistant delivering small group literacy and math support and supporting students with IEPs and 504 plans. Her strength is foundational literacy, phonics, and decoding, which is precisely the heart of second grade. She is also a former University of Florida softball player, a 2015 NCAA national champion, and a gold medalist with the USA Junior Women's National Team. And she coached young athletes ever since. Her last career was she was a professional softball player. And she brings that same focus and confidence and perseverance into the classroom. And then in special education, we have an intern. Justin Hang is an intern for us. Justin joins us as a year 2 candidate in the high-tech high district intern program, working toward his educational specialist credential and mild mod support needs, along with a foundational level math authorization. He has supported students with disabilities for nearly a decade. I actually worked with Justin at, oh my gosh, I just don't blank, Urban Discovery. He was a special education aide there. He has supported students with disabilities for nearly a decade as a paraprofessional instructional aide, before most recently teaching math, data science, and computer science at King Chavez High School. He is conversationally fluent in Chinese and Spanish and certified in CPR, AED, first aid, all those things. Justin's goal in the classroom is where every student feels valued and confident in goals set specifically for them. So just wanted to introduce our 3 new teachers to the board. I think, and Bob has been a part of every hire since I've been here. Actually, we have this discussion. And so the board always has representation that are in the processes as well.
And both people were very impressive.
Yeah, we got a good batch.
We do, we really did.
I feel like that's something as a strength of ours, is we seem to find really good hires here, so. Next thing on my, any questions on any of them as I move forward? OTA back to school nights, OTA will host, I write these on Fridays to the board, so they're a little bit delayed. It's a timely thing, kind of like Janina says. OTA, will have hosted two, back to school nights at the end of this week. The elementary back to school night was held last night from 5 to 6. The middle school back to school night will be held tomorrow night from 5 to 6. We host these on different evenings because, the first couple of years when I got here, the middle school takes a good portion of the evening to get through their stuff. And if, parents have multiple kids, it's nearly impossible for them to hear middle school and also be into another classroom to hear what's going on there. So we run our back to school nights, elementary and middle school different now. Next thing on the list is SB 760. It is a general neutral bathroom, per State Bill 760. OTA is required to convert one of the male or female restrooms into a gender neutral bathroom. We have started this process of converting one of the restrooms into a gender neutral restroom, and it should be completed soon. This doesn't take board approval, but I did want to make the public, and the board aware that we were doing this and that it is a state requirement. As a charter school, if we had, one boys bathroom and one girls bathroom, we would not have to convert one. But because we have two, we have to convert one of them into a gender neutral bathroom. So, that's a new State Bill 760. So I just wanted to announce that to the board, to the public, just in case there is a question that, why are we doing this? I don't know, when did this happen? Wanted to make sure that we were out there, about it. Any questions on that? Okay, the next one is grant status. Mark specifically asked me to report on this one. We actually now have 4 grants. This one represents 3. Mark and I had a meeting on Monday as we were working towards another one. So the 3 grants that we'd applied for as the writing of this was the Breeze Foundation. We requested $900,000. I have not heard anything from them. I've been trying to get a hold of them. The Parker Foundation, who came and did a visit last week, on Thursday. It was my understanding that they were to vote on Friday. I have reached out to them and have again not heard anything, but when I walked them around, it felt very positive. We did kind of convert the request into a match donation request. I believe capped at $100,000, but it was indicated that the jogathon could count towards those donations of trying to get to that $100,000. So it is considered a match grant, so we're very hopeful to get that one. I do hope to hear about that by the end of the week. And there will.
It's a match donation
Yeah, what did I say?
from the foundation. Matching grants, we can't.
Sorry if I said
Match
grants,
grant.
I apologize. I
Yeah.
won't match grants.
Yeah.
And then we also have a grant request into the San Diego County Bar Foundation for $25,000. Basically, I wrote the grant to match what was already happening in our social studies class, and therefore should be able to pay a good portion of Ms. Fernandez's salary based on us teaching according to the jurisdiction, the way that they wanted it to be taught. So hoping to hear back about that as well. And then Mark and I are currently in the midst of putting together another grant request for.
Goes in tomorrow.
Yep, should go in tomorrow. Honestly, waiting on Mark to get back to me on this one. For $400,000 through the CEFT grant. So we are trying to find additional revenue outside of the school enrollment numbers in order to help. I don't want to say right size because I'm fearful of that, but at least to hopefully.
Well, the way we have really great finances is by increasing our enrollment.
Sure. No, I'm just saying like we're also trying to catch up in this area as well.
Yeah.
Those are all just informational pieces for you. The next 2 actually do have voting items with them. The first one, which there isn't a lot of supportive document on this, so Janina had shared with me that this can come in the form of just verbal to you guys as well. So that's what I converted into. You would have seen it actually on the general ledger. We do get a Prop 28 grant, so that's for arts and music. Those are very specific to arts and music, and they can only be used very specific ways around arts and music. Basically what you guys as a board are doing are receiving those funds. You have to approve the reception of those funds. But from the 25-26 school year, so this last year, we do have some that are carrying over from within the budget. Old Town Academy plans to use the remaining Prop 28 funds from the prior allocations to support and expand its K-8 music program. Planned purchases include a powered speaker pair with stands, cables, and bags, and a digital key piano, as Mr. Morales has recently requested these. Remaining funds will support music instruction, instructional materials, supplies, equipment, and student performance opportunities. For the 26-27 school year, OTA plans to use its $28,712 Prop 28 allocation to continue providing and expanding music instruction, including the purchase of allowable instructional materials, supplies, and equipment that enhance student access to and participation in music education. So I am asking for you guys to approve our reception of those.
Can I get a motion to approve?
I move.
Second? Any discussion? Okay, Bob,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Reg.
Yes.
One comment, is there a guitar program?
We teach the ukulele.
The ukulele, okay.
So a student who goes kindergarten through fifth grade here, they should have a base understanding of the keyboard, the ukulele, the violin, the viola, and recorder.
My brother-in-law will, I have to say this, it's ukulele.
I'm from the Midwest. It's definitely ukulele there.
Well, there's a performer with Maley Mozart that performed with the orchestra last year, who's coming back. His name is Mac Gergich. Has a teaching program that we talked about him coming over and talking with Mr. Morales about.
Cool. Well, one additional thing, just because we're talking about the music stuff right now, I don't even know if I shared this with you. Mr. Morales and I had a meeting with the San Diego Opera, and the San Diego Opera is actually,
Bertrand, was it Bertrand?
I don't know the answer to that.
Oh, okay,
Is that his last name?
that's his first name.
I don't think that was right.
Okay, tall guy. Dark hair.
Do you consider me tall?
No,
Probably not. Probably not the same guy.
okay,
But with the San Diego Opera, they're gonna do something, I believe it's with our fourth and fifth graders, if I remember correctly. And so they're gonna come and basically what's gonna happen is the fourth and fifth grader are actually gonna write an opera. And over the 12-week period that they're here, they're going to create the opera and then actually perform the opera over that period of time. So this isn't something new to our school. I think it's a really cool additional music aspect that we haven't had in the past. So I'm pretty excited about that, so. Then the last item I have, which is also a vote, this was brought to me honestly by the teachers. This is not anything that was on my radar. OTA currently has our parent teacher conferences scheduled for October 28th through October 30th. The teachers have asked to alter these dates because it coincides with Halloween, and I think some of them are fearful that they'll have to do parent-teacher conferences in their Halloween costumes because of our time, and there's a very short turnaround from when those meetings start from the end of the day. So the request was to move it either the week before to the dates of October 21st through the 23rd, or the week after, which are the dates of November 4th through the 6th. This is a calendared issue, which is why it is a board issue. Otherwise, I could have just changed it on myself. But because it's voted on with the calendar, it does require your guys' approval. I believe that the best option is the October 21st through the 23rd, but I do want to be very clear. This does give us very little turnaround time for grades, because it usually does take a little bit longer than a week to get all that stuff processed and report cards issued. So I do have a minor concern with that, but it feels like the November date is too far out. So I think that I would rather us be under the gun and press it from the administrative side. But I also was hoping that James would come with what the teachers were hoping themselves.
Yeah, I don't know that they gave me like a specific response as to which they prefer.
They just wanted to-
21 to 23 was the only, I got one response of yes to 21 to 23. Everybody else said, yeah, we're happy to move. So everybody's okay with either one, and one response of positive to 21 to 23. I will second that 21 to 23. I think it is better because I do agree that November is just way too long. To wait for conferences, especially if students need, or
Yeah.
especially if we need to talk to a parent. We don't want to delay that.
Cause then you're now 2 weeks past one, you know,
Right.
like longer.
And then is the consequence then, we're getting the report for us later?
Well, in order for you guys to come in as parents and have that process, we need to have report cards ready. That's
the crunch.
that's a non-negotiable.
That
Right.
we'll have to have prepared.
Things, we're just gonna have to move a little bit faster than what we would normally move in order to get those things ready.
Yeah.
I think we can do it with a slight strain on the office, but I think we can pull that off, or I would recommend it. But I did wanna be upfront that that is the elephant in that space, so.
I mean, in the worst case scenario, if we don't have report cards ready to hand to a parent, we have access to our grades. So like I will be able to report a grade to a student or to a parent regardless of whether or not I have a report card to hand to that parent.
Okay, all right, can I get a motion to approve the move of the date?
I move
Can we announce to what date?
Determine the date,
The
October
October 21st.
21st
23rd.
to 25th,
22, 23.
okay?
You would think I wanted to do it.
You should have jumped
I
in.
already said, did you
You should've
nominate
jumped
me
in,
for
I
that?
know.
It might not be too late.
I know.
We'll finish the sentence today.
Okay, so,
Bob motion, I second.
yes, okay, any discussion, further discussion? Okay, Bob,
Yes.
Del,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Okay. That moves, comes to my list. I just want to make a couple notes. One I forgot to put on here is, I need the information from the new teachers to get them business cards. So how they want to be referred to, what, you know, what position, what contact information they want, their OTA Academy name, whatever. And I'd also like to get that for the board. You'll already have yours, right?
Yep, I got one.
Okay, like to get that for the board to get your cards to pass out.
Yours doesn't say board member. Cool.
Well, you know, I can write it down.
That can.
So my plan is just say board member and not the position that's there for the board. So if you could send me what you would like to be referred to as and what contact information you would like, email address, phone number, whatever. So we can, you know, start pinning those to the bulletin board at Starbucks and spreading the presence of OTA around town. That counts you as well, by the way. You are a member of the board.
You get business.
Your business card.
I get a business card?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
So maybe I would get high school application.
Can I just throw something in here?
Sure.
That, as we were talking about, Denise said it, last year we agreed that the student representative didn't need to stay for the
Right,
entire.
right.
So we just want to make sure that you are aware that you're not stuck in the seat.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
good,
we
good,
covered
sorry,
that, yeah.
just wanted to Put it out there.
It's, events this year, revealed something I wasn't aware of. And that I want to make sure the public knows, and that's that, children that are not 5 on September 1 don't qualify for kindergarten, and that's a state thing. However, as soon as they do turn 5, they are eligible. So if somebody's turning 5 in September, October, November, they'd only have a couple of months to catch up to their classmates. And by the way, that also counts toward our enrollment. So just making that available, making sure that that note is made out to the public. Form 700 disclosures. All of us on the board, except I believe you don't have to fill one out, are required to do a 700 disclosure, which is a list of things that say, you know, you don't own the school supplies company that services the school, that you don't own an entity that could be a conflict of interest with your position as board. It's a serious thing. There are multiple $1,000 fines if you don't submit. So I sent the place to go get the form, and Melody's left, but I don't remember what the deadline is. Do you?
I don't know what the deadline is.
Yeah, I don't either.
But it is in the fall. I believe
Yeah.
that it's submittable in the fall, like that's what
Right.
it's due, so.
Right. So, we'll be following up to make sure everybody gets them in. Second thing, we, wrote into the bylaws, not Robert's Rules of Orders, but the Rosenberg Rules of Order, which are designed by a justice or a judge in California to kind of shorten up the process of the way we conduct business. And I'm trying to conduct that according to this format. So having you all up to speed, you can correct me when I blow it. I want to make that note. Also, the Brown Act, just want to make sure everybody's aware of this. Don't ever respond to an email to the whole board, email conferences are considered a meeting, and that violates the rules of public disclosure, which is why, for instance, for this meeting, we have to publish the agenda 72 hours in advance. If we have a special meeting, it's 24 hours in advance. And by the way, we are contemplating a special meeting because we want to not have to wait to the next regular board meeting to submit our charter. So as soon as that charter comes back from the legal review, it'll all go out to you. You've already gotten a copy. Dr. Reyes, I don't think you have yet. Yeah. But there was a significant amount of new laws passed that took effect in July that are changing how we do business. And that's what their review is stuck on at the moment. They're gonna get that to us here shortly.
To note, it came back yesterday.
It did,
But however, there's a lot of suggested changes that I have to go through before.
okay,
So that's the only reason I
Okay.
we haven't got there yet. But
so you brought a sleeping bag, you're gonna be here tonight.
negative, so I'm really excited to get out of here, actually.
All right, well, as soon as we've had a chance to review it, and Devin's finished his thing, I'll poll you all for a good time to do a special meeting. We need a quorum, so not everybody can make it, as long as we get a quorum here, which is now 4, because we have a board of 7. And that then goes to some amendments, that I would like to make, some policy changes, which is the board's primary responsibilities policies. Up to the, student suspension and expulsion policy and procedures. These are things that came up last year, where, the policy referred to school days. And sometimes, things happen that don't have school days. It also shortens up some of the response times in ways that, or lengthens them in some cases, that's not, good for the parents or the students or the school. So, I've proposed, and I hope you all have read it already. Basically, the big change is, I'll highlight it. It's gone. Yeah, to move from school days to business days. That's primarily what the changes are here. Can I get a motion to approve this policy change?
I motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion on it? Any questions?
So I assume there was some sort of incident that brought this.
Well, yeah, we had something, in the summer, there are no school days, so we had to navigate, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and besides that, business days account for holidays and other things that school days would account for as well.
Yeah.
So, I think it's standard in my business that everything's done on business days.
Yep.
So, may I be part of this
Yeah,
discussion?
absolutely.
I'm just thinking out loud. We've talked about this, but for whatever reason, this just popped in my head. My only concern on the business days is, let's say, we're on a holiday, but regular businesses are in, but school isn't.
Well, how often does that happen?
Not often, but it does happen. And so I just was thinking about that concept of, like, as an example, the school goes on winter break and this says business days. Well, some of us would be here, but not all of us would be here. And so I'm not sure if there's a wording that can even match that, but it was just a thought that I had for the first time in this thought process. So, yeah, I don't think it happens often.
That's a huge problem. So no less than, you can wait and business days.
Correct.
Still be.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just a thought as this was,
Well, but there are within 2 business days.
Oh,
For limitations, we could say, we could amend this to say within 2 business days,
For the active school calendar or something.
accounting for is it school calendar or school how, no. Accounting for what's the best way to say that?
sorry to throw a curveball.
No, it's a good thought. It's a good thought. The whole point of this is to have a policy that works. In 2 business days.
Or maybe we could. Maybe business days has an asterisk somewhere where if business days is referenced within the policy, business days refers to business days that are the equivalent of school calendar days or something like that. That way, for the summer or anything that's happening outside of the traditional school calendar, that is a day, but it's not a business day, right? So the business day, if it happens over a winter break, right, it's still within the school calendar.
that kind of gets it back to where you were. before.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
gets us back to the place where
Yeah.
it was out of
Maybe we
school
need
at
to
the end.
press pause on.
Yeah.
And we.
Well,
the verbiage.
But we also don't want this to be something like, in the informal conference here. It originally said held within 2 school days. Which in that case would put a parent in a place where if there's one school day that's part of the 2, that's the beginning of winter break. And another school day that's at the end of it. I think the school should be on the hook for doing it. Having to be here during a winter break day. To deal with something like that.
That might be tricky though, when we factor in vacations and intents and plans and. I know we're all talking about something that is unlikely, right?
Yeah, I think this is
But
the percentage chance of this actually hitting in this is very slim, but it did just pop into my head there at the end. It felt like it was important to know.
Might be a way to just accept, like, with the exception of school breaks.
Oh, yeah, business days with the exception
Well,
of,
but that raises to what I just said, though. Splitting the 2 days
yeah.
between the first day of winter break and the last day.
Putting an exception to the exception for.
Yeah,
An asterisk with an asterisk next to
so,
it.
so maybe the way to do this is in the event of a conflict like that. That we vote on an exception.
we being the board votes on the exception.
Yeah,
But what if, from a parental standpoint, they wanna hold us accountable to what's here? because
know.
that works better.
that's what I was just thinking
It's not
about, right, right,
It's about what was
right.
written.
right.
Is it unreasonable to maybe pause on this and bring it back to next month so that we can make all those other considerations or?
I'm so sorry I didn't
Done
bring this
now.
up before. It just.
No.
No, that's
It's a
okay,
good
no,
point,
it's a
yeah.
good point, it's a good point,
Defer.
well.
We
What I
like
would
his
like to know,
conscience on his shoulder, defer.
what I would like to know is what what are we legally allowed to do? Cause it's our own policy, this is our policy. We're setting how we wanna do things. So I think it needs to have wording that accounts for that. So yeah, we can defer this. I mean, we're not facing any immediate suspension activity, so
I sure hope not.
yeah. So, okay.
So we say we just gonna roll it over to the September agenda.
Are you looking at the rules what to do?
I am. I think it needs an amendment to the motion. Bob, wait a minute, you moved.
I've moved.
So-
Bob second.
So do an amendment to defer it.
Okay. I amend to defer policy 4004 to the September 2026 board meeting.
And a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on that further? Okay, Bob,
Yes.
and you're voting to defer, that's what we're voting, okay. Del,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Red,
And in case I need to abstain, but then I'll be able to chime in on the next one.
okay, okay. Then,
The other, but then the other one could have been just tabled. We could have just tabled.
that's what I was trying to look at here, but it's biased
That's
towards,
Robert's rule, that's, oh.
yeah, I know.
Table the agenda. item.
Yeah, there are issues I have with this way of doing things, but we'll try. We'll see what happens. We can always go back if we want and re-amend. Okay. Last item then, is, the board meeting dates. I wanted to make sure this board set its own board meeting dates rather than the other board. The reason we set the dates that we set was, in order to push it to the last possible time in the month. Because all last year, we were getting the financial report from 2 months ago. And I would like to see, in September, the August numbers, and in October, the September number. So that's why it's pushed. Can I get a motion to approve the current dates?
I move.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion on it? Anybody have a different idea? Okay. Call for the vote. Bob,
Yes.
Del,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Red.
We can abstain on this one as well to guarantee the date.
Okay, okay.
But I support it.
Okay, okay.
I mean, I know there's really one of the problems.
All right, cool. All right, well, that concludes our public agenda. We have one closed session item on real estate. And thank you guys for being here. Very much appreciated. Turner, I would like you to stay. And you can go.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you very much for being here.
Aaron, enjoy. Yeah.
We got a closed session. My closing remarks are to thank the new board for coming and participating in this very important activity that we have to do. And there's nothing to report coming out of close, so adjourning at 8:25.